Yep.
I truly believe Kyle Manungai is going to have a huge role on this team. I don't think we're going to sign Nick Chubb or any of these other guys, and I don't think they want to because I think they're going to be so thrilled with Manungai. No block, no rock. That's that guy's middle name. I love that pick. I think teams have made a mistake. I think a lot of, and this happens over the last number of years, teams try to because the undrafted free agent thing, you usually know, there's a reason why all those get announced quickly is because those get lined up real quick.
Right.
And they're like, hey, you know what? We're going to sign you. We're going to sign you. You're not going to get drafted. So we're going to sign you. Parameters, all this stuff. And I think the Bears are like, F all that. We're just going to draft you. And amazing move. And I'm already in. And I will help. I will help. I think I'm ready for it.
Another Big Ten guy too, by the way. Right?
Yes.
So Michigan, Maryland, Michigan State, Rutgers. So we're staying close to home with the Big Ten.
What conference is Missouri? Other SEC.
SEC, which, hey, that's a tough conference. You're going up against some tough DBs there, Luther Burden. So Kyle Manungai, having to fight through the trenches of the Big Ten, certainly some tough games there. He's a bowling ball. There's no question. His highlight reel is certainly a lot of fun. Everybody's highlight reel is fun, but I think he is the opposite of everything that Ruben Hippolyte, was to fans, because Ruben was a guy that should have gone 7th round or undrafted, goes in the 4th round, and Kyle Manungai goes in the 7th round and maybe should have been higher. I know there's people that had him as high as a 3rd or 4th round grade. And because
it was my number 2 RB on the board.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In retrospect.
Right. I mean, he's Ashton Genty light, right?
I think I wrote, if you don't get Ashton Genty, make sure you get Kyle Manungai.
Kyle Manungai, yeah. Who also has a fun name. So we're drafting all sorts of people with fun names. And so, I like the pick.
Is Chicago bringing in Chubb? Thank you, Burley Sullivan, for bringing up this question. We did talk about this briefly. I'm saying no. And is it because of Kyle Manungai? I'm like, yeah, that's part of the reason. Why are we going? We don't need to go back for Nick Chubb. And I went out there and I posted this on my Instagram a couple of days ago in one of the stories. I'm like, hey, is he coming to Chicago? And overwhelmingly, usually when you put a big name coming to your team, there's a lot of casual people who are like Nick Chubb, of course. Most people, the overwhelming majority are like, no, don't come to Chicago. God bless Nick Chubb. I hope it works out for him, but I can't see that working out for us in Chicago.
Well, certainly his injury history is concerning, but I see Guy Finley in the chat saying don't need another running back. Well, I don't have a problem bringing in competition. Everybody, I'm excited for Kyle Manungai. And I think I think Bears Twitter is being very hard on DeAndre Swift. He's not a perfect back.
I like him. I'm in. No. I'm not. I like him.
Right. Well, and so I think I've even been hard on DeAndre Swift. I was trying to jettison him for Ashton Genty for the last couple weeks. So, at the same time though, that doesn't mean he's a terrible player. And some fans, I think, kind of got so caught up in this running back class that meant that they had to kind of pile on Swift to make their point, and so I think people are overstating that if the ineptitude of DeAndre Swift, I don't think it's as bad as some people make it out to be. And Roschon Johnson can be your goal line back. He's going to have to really fight to have a bigger role than that. I like Kyle Manungai, but he's a rookie. Yeah. If Nick Chubb wants to come here for 1 year, couple $1 million and compete, everybody's competing now. I said that on CHGO. We clipped it like, hey, Cole Kmet. I love Cole Kmet. He's my guy. Yeah. But guess what? And they can play together on the field. They have different roles at tight end, but they're all competing for the football. You bring in Luther Burden. He can play with these wide receivers. He can play with these tight ends on the same field, but they're competing for that football. Who's going to be the one that fights to get open? Who's going to be the one that fights to make that block when the ball's not in your hand? They're competing at left tackle. They're competing. You bring in a linebacker to compete with Noah Sewell. What has Noah Sewell been doing the last couple of years? They drafted him What has he done? You know, and so bring in Ruben Hippolyte to put some heat on him. You know, you bring in Zay Frazier. I'm not saying he's taking Tyreek Stevenson's job, but you know what? You never know, you know, and then you also have Terrell Smith, who's another corner that he can put a little bit of heat on. You know, it's a guy that had 6 interceptions in college last year. So Kyle Manungai, another guy that's going to put some heat on guys. I have no problem with them bringing a guy like Nick Chubb in, who's had great success here in the NFL, and let these guys compete and let the whole thing figure itself out.